Sounds good.
I don't. Okay, so we'll start the recording. Okay, we've started recording. Okay, welcome to Dragon King Talk. I'm Skeletor, here with Jarl Thor when he arrives, and our guest, Grimdark Half Off, to discuss his YouTube channel and other points of interest that the man's interested in. Welcome to Dragon King Talk, Grimdark.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to talk about Dark Sun and Athos today.
As are we. We're happy to have you here. So, tell us a little about yourself. Who are you? What do you do in the real world?
What do I do in the real world? I am a nutritionist, a personal trainer, and a strength coach. I also got my associate's degree in arts in late 2022. So I am just someone who also does YouTube for a living now. This is actually, generatively, this is my main source of income to some degree.
Right, you did just monetize your channel, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it was a very wise decision. Very wise decision.
Awesome. Awesome. So you said that's now your primary source of income?
Oh yeah, no, it definitely gives me the largest paycheck out of what I have. So it's like I'd say 10% larger than my normal paycheck. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Sounds like success.
Indeed, indeed. I hope there's much more in the future.
Do you do most of that work alone, or do you have a team?
No, I do everything alone. I write scripts, I voice them, I make all the fun little weird collage page graphics that people call schizophrenia writing, and then I upload and try to schedule it as best as possible.
Welcome, Thor.
I have returned.
Hello.
So you handle the production as well, then?
Yes, I do.
Do you do a lot of prep time before you sit down to write, like researching canon, or do you
No,
just let
no,
your
it's
imagination
yes, no. When it comes to research, yes, absolutely. Research is something I do obsessively, and oftentimes as I'm writing a script too. More importantly than any specific type of technical information being presented, what I usually like to do is try to be as unique as possible, figure out what my take is on it, and then try to present that case to the audience at large. But I always do my best to research a source list beforehand. As I'm writing the script, the source list grows, and then depending on the sources and what I find, I'll go back and edit the script accordingly. But script writing in general, when I'm just writing a script, usually that's just a stream of consciousness that is then altered based on new sources of information.
Right. I've noticed that a lot of your videos are quite long form.
No, yeah, no. I mean, you give the audience what they want. I would be doing 1 7-minute video every 2 days if that's what my audience wanted, but they seem to want hour-long stuff, so I've sort of worked out this half-scripted, half-podcast format that I'll be trying to do a lot of my videos on. That's actually very similar to what we're doing right now.
Awesome. Have you thought about doing shorts?
I have done...
You do? You have started doing it.
Yes. I've started chopping up some of the older long-form videos into shorts, and they seem to be doing A-okay on the channel.
So your YouTube channel is devoted to multiple areas of interest, including health. As you mentioned, you're a life coach and strength coach. As the population ages, the gaming population, we find ourselves feeling the effects of the sedentary lifestyle taking a toll, especially in the older grognards and first generation of gamers, those contemporaries of Gary Gygax. Do you see yourself helping to mitigate that?
Oh, well, I hope so, if that's the effect I'm having. But generally speaking, I mean, physical fitness and grimdark media, which is really what I talk about, it just goes hand in hand to me. I've always noticed that difference, that engaging with darker forms of media often inspires people to action more so than casual forms of media. I think that it has a higher therapeutic effect because more is overcome within the story, and thus more is desired to be overcome in life. And I think that translates heavily into physical fitness, and I think that when someone's brain has been primed, someone's mind and their mindset has been primed with that view of overcoming darkness, then I think you give them a workout routine, a physical fitness routine, and it's not hard for them to make the connections between physical action and that same overcoming of darkness, especially when they start to notice the anti-depression benefits. So as far as a reputation for being sedentary, yes, I would like more people to be active if there is something in them, or it's similar to the effect that maybe Deadlifts for the Dark Gods has on his community, where there is a showing that actually you can be into fitness and nerd stuff at the same time, then I absolutely want to have that effect. And I also want people to be less sedentary, in the sense that obviously when we are sedentary, we become more bitter, we become more neurotic, and we often encourage depression through a sedentary lifestyle. So decreasing that amount of depression is always a good thing, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, as an aside, where does the handle Grimdark Half Off come from? We've seen it around a while. Does it have a source from somewhere else?
Well, firstly, the thing is more or less inspired, and this is kind of obvious with my newer intro, but it's inspired by stores like Blockbuster and Half Price Books. But also, when it came right down to it, originally, I was actually going to be a Warhammer 40k channel, and I was called 40k 101. And this was around the time when they were suing all the 40k fan channels for daring to do fan content, Games Workshop was. And I got kind of scared of that, so I changed it to a more original name, Grimdark Half Off. And you might remember this as the guy who did text-to-speech device. The Emperor has a text-to-speech device. Alpha Barafusa got rid of his channel. And not got rid of his channel, but stopped doing the text-to-speech device and moved into World of Darkness content.
Okay.
And I'm grateful for it. I can't thank GW enough, because if it wasn't for their predatory practices, I mean, I would never have gotten into Conan, so solid.
Right, so you started as 40k and then got into Conan from there.
Oh, yeah, no, and it's very helpful, too, because with my ADHD, I mean, that basically rules what I do, and that's why a lot of my videos tend to be very random. That's why, I have Dark Sun content, I have Conan content, I have everything else, so I'm very grateful that they kind of forced my hand in changing my specifics and what people expect of me more from a specific property to a genre.
A genre kind of inspired by Grimdark.
Well, yeah, the Grimdark genre.
So you love Conan and various other Grimdark settings. How do you approach doing a Conan video with so many different sources of conflicting material out there?
Oh, that's easy. So we have a core foundational understanding of Howard's writing, and anything that is added to it that complements that core foundation is canon, in my opinion. And then anything that doesn't, like, for instance, Marvel's Norse mythology, which conflicts with the Conan cycle of history, I just totally disregard. And that's what is canon in Conan, sort of. I have a video on this. It's one of my most watched ones, where I explain sort of the three timelines that would kind of line up with Howard's writing. And the first one is a core, simple sense of the normal Earth occurs. Another one is Lovecraft stories occur. And another one is the Marvel heroic age. And anything from all three of those timelines is included in my videos, so long as it does not disrespect or contradict the original source material.
So you don't prefer revisionist material, and you try to avoid that. Something that revises the original writing or the concept of what Robert E. Howard put down.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's always important to respect the original vision of an author, just because if you do that, you'll find a core, solid meta-narrative occurring within anything you cover. And obviously the core meta-narrative of the Conan universe is overcoming slavery, overcoming decadence, not letting victory defeat you, not letting other people decide for you what your will be, and not replacing the... I believe that one of the best quotes from Tower of the Elephant, corruption takes hold when men allow theology to replace the simple faith in their own heart. This type of thing. And I love that message.
It's a outlook on canon that I've often talked about. I agree. It gives you a very core kind of foundation to build what you use in your worlds or your games. If you start with that.
Amen. Amen.
So obviously, being here, we all want to talk about Dark Sun. Tell us, what drew you to the world of Athas initially?
Oh, it was just, I mean, well, firstly, my introduction to it, and I have to thank Michael Snow and give Michael Snow full credit, his long form video on it was just amazing. And then I started watching the Athos geopolitics video by Dungeon Master Rob, and I started watching the WebDM Athos episode. And I just started from there, started researching all the books I could find. Man, I really want to do, and I realized I really wanted to do content on this, and doing content on it and researching for content on it would be a great way to learn about it. So that's why I have my Dark Sun videos, but it's also why, when it comes right down to it, the setting is just all my favorite things put into one. You have basically the psionic powers that are, in my opinion, are just like the Star Wars Force mechanics done better. In my opinion, it's way better than metachlorians, that's for sure. And then you also have Mad Max, and you have Fallout, and you have all the cool post-apocalyptic settings just all squished into one. I love the fact that you're cut off from the gods, but you're not cut off from hell. I love that. I love that dichotomy too. I need more of it in my life. You know, when life gets too good, you need to be reminded it could be worse. You could be living on Athos.
Isn't that the truth? That is really just, it's a horrible place to live.
I love it.
Well,
I think we all do. What about the setting keeps you interested? Other than, I mean, given the fact that it receives so little attention officially, it's a 30 years abandoned setting.
Well, you know, I've never been a guy who really takes that into account. I mean, Conan started to be written in the 1910s. You know, it started to be published in the 1910s. It's over 100 years old. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. It just doesn't register with me. The concept of this media is old, this media is new. But as far as it goes, it's just, look, if it's good, it's good. And as far as what keeps me interested in Dark Sun, it's the element of survival. It's the fact that there's so much room for homebrewing, so much room for you to do what you... Obviously, it's partially from D&D, which, by the way, is another great thing about it. You have access to basically all the D&D stuff to reimagine however you want for Athos. But that just mimics alone would be incredibly fun. But... psionic mimics.
I was just about to say it.
Yeah.
Psionic mimics.
It's like, it's Ditto from Pokemon, but it also hates you. What?
Yeah.
And it also wants to be you. It wants to wear your skin. Okay, you know, like John Carpenter's The Thing. That's our
I think
mimic.
we just created a new monster for Dark Sun, folks.
It's gorgeous.
I think we did.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
No.
Please go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, what keeps me interested is just the constant shifting. I love all the unique biomes of Athos. I love the fact that because Athos is one planet, once you have your homebrewed Athos all the way around, once you have your world map of Athos, that's it. Everything that happens on this planet actually has consequences and matters. And if you want to get to another part of the multiverse, good luck, pal. You got to pass literally through hell or one of the. You ever been through a plane of silt? You want to go through a plane of silt, do you? Is that a fun vacation time for you? No, of course not. So I love that absolutely. So I'm very excited to be listening to the Bone Stone and Obsidian podcast soon on their Spelljammer crossover, the Spelljammer crossover episode they were going to be doing, because I really am interested in how the dynamics of A plays into B.
Yes, that Crimson Sphere stuff is very, very interesting.
And we also have an interview on Dragon King Talk available on athos.org where we do an interview with the creator in a similar way. But I think we have a little bit of a different topics. So if you want a lot on it, I think the Bone, Stone, and Obsidian, I think that one already got posted, didn't it?
I think it did.
I will check
If
it
not,
out.
It will be soon. So how much have you actually gotten to play in Dark Souls? Do you have any fun stories to tell from games that you were involved in?
Well, honestly, I've only really gotten the chance to play in 2 one-shots. In both cases, one I played a Halfling Ranger, the other one I played a Thri-Kreen Ranger, and in both cases, I just really focused on the fun aspect of being a cannibal, of being like a fun goofy goober who wants to eat humans, a fun fella, you know, just running around who just wants to shoot things with arrows and eat people. I love it. I love every second of it. I love every second of that grimdark storytelling, and I love every second of just sometimes a man just needs to be a bug. And, you know, can't a man just be a bug for 5 seconds without being bothered by. And that's what it is. It's the masculine urge to be a bug, and it's good.
It's got a unique races for you to utilize, and even the races that you're used to from the Tolkienish kind of world, they are very different, and the way you're going to play them is very different than how you play them in a game like Greyhawk or Forgotten Realms.
Oh yeah, mutant halflings that look like goblins sometimes, and then you also have hairless dwarves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 9-foot tall elves that just run everywhere.
Anorexic dragonborn called Dre.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff.
And honestly, the Dre in their art, they're imagining, is one of my favorite races. They take so much from the Serpent Men of Conan, so much from that design philosophy. You can always see the serpentine look in them, the way you wouldn't see it in normal Dragonborn or their artistic depictions.
Oh,
that's the Dark Sun. That's the Athos dragon in general. They're always not just the Dre, but the transformed humans that have become dragons have that kind of serpentine look going on as well.
It's just so gorgeous. It's just, especially with any of the art styles I'm a fan of, that's great. But Brahms' original art for it obviously was just, that's immaculate. For someone like me who's a Conan fan who loves Frank Frazetta's naturalist art style, seeing that for a fantasy setting, a more detailed fantasy setting like Dark Sun, is just so amazing.
Right. So you've recently put a lot of effort into rebuilding Bethesda's Skyrim into an Athos analog. How has that gone?
Oh, it's been heaven. It's been heaven. One of the things I want to do, especially since I need to be creating more content for the channel, I just really want to do a Let's Play of it. I really do. I've been once again trying to test it out by doing a Ranger, and I've been using Tame the Beasts of Skyrim, and I just have my strange desert Dune Ripper chorus companion as I'm running around dodging what would be fire drakes and what would be various different air drakes, fire drakes, various dinosaurs effectively. And it's just been a heaven of fun, especially since I took out all the magic and I made it so one of the only ways you could learn spells was by putting perks into the spell crafting trees and into the various points of conjuration with the perk overhaul that I'm using. And so I just have this one, and it's been so wonderful because I just have this one spell in conjuration, and this one spell lets me reanimate any dead animal. So in addition to having my beast, I also have whatever dead animal I kill, and I can use that to attack my enemies while I'm shooting it with a bow from behind or dodging them. And I'm just in love with it. I'm in love with the whole process.
So you're rolling around with an undead Triceratops?
Well, in this case, yes, actually. Well, not an undead Triceratops. I'm rolling around with, right now, an undead raptor. It's like a blue sort of dinosaur. And then also with my pet, who's like a chorus or like a bug. A bug and an undead raptor.
That's awesome.
Indeed.
I remember from your videos you mentioned Chunga Chunga being a thing that you enjoyed a lot.
Chungo, yes.
Your half-giant character.
Yes. He's the self-proclaimed protector of Rorikstead. His best friend is a crack fiend who is also an anorexic minotaur named Gibbsy, which is his own mod. And he does backflips. He loves the city of the small town of Rorikstead. And he gets into random fights to protect them, and that's the whole way I roleplayed the character. And I understand that obviously tabletop will always be superior for roleplaying, but just that freedom to play out your skits, your one-shots, your characters in their own environment, in a 3D environment, is just what makes the Bethesda games priceless, even if I'm someone who can't really get into the original lore of those games.
So just to get this straight in my own head, and maybe for the listeners, you're doing modded Skyrim into Dark Sun. That's kind of the way you're going with this?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I often use the example that, as I played Skyrim in VR, that people who actually lived in the world of D&D, for them it would be a very scary world. Just a regular D&D world would be vastly a scary thing for a lot of people. Fighting an owlbear on paper and fighting an owlbear in VR in real life is a whole other experience, and I can only imagine how that would be for a Dark Sun experience.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's a bear minus all the elements that make you recognize a bear as cute.
Now, are these mods compatible with the Skyrim VR? Well, I know a lot of mods are.
Oh, I'll be honest, I haven't checked it. I play with mouse and keyboard on PC. And this is by the way, this overhaul is for the Legendary Edition, so the 2011 version, which you can still find on Steam, but you just need to find a link to the Steam page. Steam still wants to sell it to you, but again, another reason I don't like Bethesda anymore. Bethesda does not want you to see it. So it's this war to let you buy old school Skyrim.
Yeah, I believe the anniversary. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, I was just going to add. I think the anniversary edition added a lot of the updates and stuff they had done, the DLCs they had done over the years. So a lot of old mods are incompatible with that anniversary edition.
Yeah, it completely destroyed so many people's load order, and they got very angry about it, especially since it happened around the same time Starfield was almost universally recognized as a flop.
So what other Grimdark settings do you really enjoy and actively try to play in or have in the past?
Well, obviously the Hyborian Age, but another one is just Call of Cthulhu. I love everything, because I said before, I love one-shots on a tabletop. Call of Cthulhu, just the fact that you are showing up to know how you're going to die. And by some miracle you might survive, but chances are you're going to die. It's going to be in a slightly funny, grotesque, tragic, awful way. And that's going to be just absolutely heaven for me. I love cosmic horror.
Yeah, that's all Lovecraft stuff.
Oh yeah, and if you want, Lovecraft also shares a universe with Smith and Howard. So remember, all the things that are canon in Lovecraft are also canon in Conan. But the thing about the when it comes to the settings, I'll give you an example of one of my favorite ones, and it's called Intimate Encounters. Intimate Encounters is a parody of the Ashley Madison scandal, and you play effectively as a team of wannabe journalists. You play as basically Alex Jones, a crazy charismatic nutjob, and you have to go fight Nyarlathotep. And it's just about the fun ways that Alex Jones will die to Nyarlathotep, and what members of the Alex Jones crew will survive Nyarlathotep.
Huh. That sounds crazy.
They're putting chemicals in the water that turn the frogs into the Sogthawa.
Um,
Go ahead, Thor.
I actually lost my trail of thought.
He threw you off with that one, didn't he?
Well, and I was going to ask, now I remember it. I don't know if you've ever seen the RPG horror stories on YouTube, but I think Den of the Drake or somebody did one based off of, or it might have been Doge. They done one off of a Call of Cthulhu campaign with this crazy Scotsman, right? And the guy narrated the voice and everything because he's reading this Reddit story of a Call of Cthulhu campaign, right? And oh my lord, the entire story is full of that stuff. I mean, the whole reason this guy goes after the demon cults is because he thinks that they stole his garden lawn gnomes. You know what I mean? He's playing an insane guy.
No, I love that. I love every second of that.
So, what's in the future for Grimdark Half Off? Do you have any interesting projects or collaborations coming soon?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, no. My sponsor just signed off on a David Lynch Twin Peaks video, just asking the simple question, was David Lynch grimdark? Then I'm also doing all Vesson, aka monsters, in the show Grimm. I'm also going to be doing all fighting styles and martial arts in Fist of the North Star, and which is basically just magic. It's just magic at a certain point. But then I'm also going to be doing, eventually, obviously, we're going to be getting back to Conan. What the next Conan video I really want to do. I really want to do Set and the Serpent Men Revisited, because there's a bit of a muddy area of Serpent Men on other planets, and how Serpent Men eventually came to Earth, and how Serpent Men were effectively forged on Earth. And what does that mean? What does it mean for the degenerate Serpent Men versus the more advanced Serpent Men? I really love that concept. And just re-clarifying or re-theorizing on Set, who is just such a prominent figure in Conan that he deserves his own video. It's one of those things. It's one of those things, because he's featured in the All Gods series. I'm very grateful that the All Gods series, we finally covered all 60 canon gods that I could find like 2 years ago in Conan. So this is a project that's basically been as long as the channel.
Yeah, that's like a 4-hour-long series, isn't it?
That is its total runtime now is about 6 hours.
Oh my!
Yeah, and that's only because we had an honorable mention segment, which honestly, if I spent just I wouldn't know what I would say about them, but I'm sure I could figure out something, and that would be just another hour of just the honorable mention gods, like the golden peacock of Shem, but that's also pretty obviously, when it comes to anything from Shem and Conan, it's like, okay, it's the Old Testament, the golden peacock is clearly the golden calf, it's them worshiping greed, and yada, yada, yada. But all the ones that are unique, all the ones that are, you know, anything to do with a unique take on gods. I feel like I did them, I classified them. Other people are welcome to give their takes on them, and I more than welcome their takes.
Quick question: what about Bori?
Bori did Bori. I can't remember. I think it was in the third episode I did Bori. Yep.
He's passed the test, Skeletor.
Well, this man knows his stuff, man.
We actually role played a followers of Bori recently on a Conan Exile server.
Oh, and in the honorable mention segment, the only one that I really spend any time on is the Witch Queen, which is the main one that you'd be fighting if you were followers of Bori.
Oh yeah, yeah. They've all got a storyline and a history and the lore, so it's a very interesting thing. Conan. I've just started my journey in it, and I really love learning.
Very good, very good. And of course, another thing people have always been wanting from my Conan content, they've been wanting like individual documentaries on each nation. Now, at the end of the day, I always come from a more culturally focused human interest perspective when it comes to anything I cover. It also has to do with, I hope that sets my the few 40K videos I have on the Raven Guard and the Space Sharks. I'm hoping that sets it apart in that way, because that's generally what I do. But yeah, no, I mean, I'd love to do that and basically do an episode Aquilonian culture, Kothian culture, Stygian culture, Katai culture, Amazonian culture, etc., etc.
Well, and then I think you get in the quest for them to being done per nation, because some people are very interested in geopolitics, not necessarily based on culture, but the nations that hold armies. Especially if they're doing sort of role play or anything like that. They like to know where the geopolitics are, who's been allies with who's had wars with who, so I think sometimes people are interested in an analysis based off of national or borders with these kingdoms kind of thing, because they use that stuff in their fuel for RP or RPG games.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt. And one of the reasons that Baron DeRob's videos on geopolitics are so good.
So, in case we missed it, how do our listeners support your work or contact?
My content is found on Grimdark Half Off. On there, you'll find a channel membership link as well as a Patreon link. Any help you want to give is greatly appreciated. Of course, the most help you can give is sharing that content to anyone who you think might like it, because obviously views and AdSense are the bread and butter of the channel.
Awesome. Well, we're happy to give you a little bit of exposure here amongst us nerds.
Oh, 100%. No, I've listened to Bone, Stone, and Obsidian as well as the Dragon King talks for a while. I've known about the podcast for a while as well. The Deadlands of Athos I've been a huge fan of. God, the fact that you guys introduced me to Bone, Stone, and Claw, I believe. No, not Bone, Stone, and Claw. Oh, what was the new Lizard Man books that were released? What were they?
Scale, Tail, and Claw.
Scale, Tail, and Claw. My brain. Okay. I want to expand more on those. I want to get through those. I want to get a copy of those and then do lore videos on the things that you guys wrote. Well, not you guys, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, that's a high quality book. It's got a lot of great stuff in it.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. And just, I love being able to add to that universe. I love being able to, I love all the areas for homebrew in Athos, and I feel like the work being done through all these different fan projects and through all the people adding to Dark Sun, it's basically unofficial, official. And I just, that is, to me, Athos. That is a great vision to me. I was talking with one of your group members, and he disagreed with the vision that he was describing people making for them. But it's like, I really like that, the idea that the alien world that came before, this idea that there's a There are orcs who are intelligent instead of stupid, and that's what was wiped out. Things like that. I love that. I love the idea of unique ancient ruins and ancient dead peoples to learn about. I mean, one of the things that I would love is a tribe that was basically founded around the skeletons and graveyards of Wymex, just because Wymex are really, really cool. And if I can't use them, I at least want to use their skeletons. So if we're yeah. What's up?
Great.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything you want to give some attention to?
Oh no, I mean, we're still going on for a really long time, right? That's
Oh, we've run through our questions here.
oh, okay.
It was, well, I figured 30 minutes to an hour. It looks like we're right at about 30 minutes.
All right, solid. Okay.
I do have one question on Dark Sun though. Where do you see yourself going forward with Dark Sun and its future on your channel?
Oh, without a doubt, the next video needs to be on all the Dragon Kings and all the champions of Rajat.
What's your Which one's your favorite?
Oh, that's tough.
I had
That's
to
tough.
ask.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I have to say Nibene.
Nibene's a popular one.
Nibene, dude, just know, man, you talk about pimponomics. I give all my bitches superpowers. Hello.
They're all his wives, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just it. He just walks around, and he's so sleazy. One of my favorite things about the accidental nature, I don't know if you've ever played Skyrim, but the Jarl of Falkreath is a sleazy bastard. The Argonian Jarls mod I'm using, mixed with the Argonian Overhaul makeover mods, make him look exactly like Nibene. And make him that same sleazy bastard that you'd find Nibene to be. Just like, it's like, that's just, if you're going to be an evil dragon anyway, why not also be a pimp, good sir? Why not be a pimp? And that's just, I have to respect Nibene on everything. He has mad game. He has a Bugatti. No, I'm not.
Great. Well, is there anybody in the audience that would like to ask Grimdark any questions?
Yes, please do. I am drawing a blank. I would greatly appreciate any questions whatsoever. I will do my best to answer them.
Well, and I like the Dragon Kings because when you ask somebody about a Dragon Kings or which one's their favorite, you always get a good story on how they which one they like and why. I always think it's interesting to hear.
Oh yeah, but just the relationship between the Dragon Kings and the Templars is so wonderful. I just love that on every possible level. The fact that there is a head of government who you literally draw your magic from. That is an insanely cool element to expand on. It just is. All the different power dynamics and power struggles that come out of that, what it means to be totally dependent on someone, the narrative you could have around abuse, and how the life of a Templar is just this cycle of being tortured and abused by their Dragon King. And obviously, the wives of Nibene would be a great example of that, right? You get tortured and abused by your Dragon King, and then you abuse your authority on the populace.
Right, you inflict your pain onto those that are underneath of you.
Exactly. And just having that cycle broken by someone willing to slay a Dragon King. And just that core heroic myth of slaying the dragon literally takes on new meaning in the sense that you're liberating people from dark forces. On one hand, as a Templar, you now lose the magic you gained from the Dragon King. On the other hand, you're now no longer beholden and no longer have investment to this evil monster that wants to rule and control your life. And if we go back to what Jarl Thor was talking about earlier, the difference between just talking about fantasy and living in a fantasy world, really communicating that level of torture, emotional and mental abuse, along with physical abuse that may occur as a Templar from your Dragon King, is just so, it's amazing to me. It's wonderful to me as a narrative to be able to liberate oneself from that through acts of self-ownership and self-responsibility, which would be something like the slaying of the Dragon King.
So we have a question from Radu. In your video, all races and social classes in Dark Sun, your sources seem to be a mix of 4E in the game. Is your homebrew 5E combined with 5E, 4E combined with 5E, or something else entirely?
That was June.
That's June Solar. Yeah, I'm sorry, not Radu. It was June Solar.
My general goal is to create as living and breathing a world as possible in my own head. And to do that, I use a combination of second and fourth edition. I was not aware of a fifth edition Dark Sun campaign, but when it comes to the lore, I mean, I take from all sources in the same philosophy as Robert E. Howard, as long as it doesn't contradict, as long as it doesn't, ruin the spirit of the genre. Like, obviously, I wouldn't put in there. And then there were the snuggly water elementals who gave everyone free water all the time, right? But what I would do is anything that doesn't violate it. What I love from 4th edition, I think people really underestimate. I do like the 4th edition in terms of the Kalashtar and the Tiefling editions. I love the idea of insane, violent Tiefling raiders throughout the desert, which just look amazing to me aesthetically. Just the way the sand plays off of the classical red skin, red horns. And then also the idea of the Kalashtar, these sort of dream people, these two bodies and one soul, and what it would mean for someone with kind of this psionic connection to an outer deity to see the tragedy of Athos and sort of avenge that tragedy. So I would say that I would use any source so long as it does not contradict the initial theme, soul, and core of Dark Sun, which is that core element of all grimdark settings, which is the intense overcoming of horrifying trials. It is that immense uphill battle. Anything that does not violate the feeling of that uphill battle, I will happily get into. Sorry if that was a weird answer.
No, you pretty much answered exactly. I mean, his question was mostly just about like what kind of rule systems that you like to use with your Dark Sun.
Oh, yeah, I will.
Do you homebrew?
Yeah, I will use whatever rules that the DM provides. I will also use whatever rules are simple enough for a group to do. So whatever that's highly dependent and highly modular based on what a group wants to do. That is in the moment.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not the best person to ask about stats. I love the lore, and I will get obsessed about the lore. And I guess one of the unique things that kind of creates my channel in the state that it's in is that I simply cannot, for the life of me, find a way to make... Like, I understand that there is a necessity, obviously, to the mechanics of a game, but I, for the life of me, cannot stay away from the laser focus on the lore and the living, breathing aspects of the world. To me, that is the core point of the story. The mechanics are there to facilitate the story. But I also understand... Oh, sorry?
I tend to agree with that concept. The lore is what everything's built around.
Amen. Now, the one thing that I do heavily approve of and I love, because I also just love one-shots, and we were talking before that how I usually play one-shots in Dark Sun, but only recently have I been inspired to really want a long-term character, a Jedi-inspired psionicist. And the thing about it is I'm very okay with a harsh DM, and one of the rules aspects of Dark Sun that I don't want to skimp on is the idea of how deadly and brutal the world is. I'll happily RP an entire family of psionicists who are just kind of raised in this Jedi-like way. I'm absolutely okay with that. As far as I'm concerned, he has 80 brothers, all with a similar name.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And I again, that's part of the fun of Call of Cthulhu. It always astonished me when Dark Sun got this reputation for not being fun because your characters died. I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, it's like just the idea that today a giant sand crab could cut your throat. And sand crabs, by the way, are not, I know they're not officially in the Dark Sun manual. I know that sand crabs are a thing from a homebrew that I saw called the 11-foot pole, which was really cool. Shout out to them.
Buddy, we got ant lions.
Yes.
Yeah, giant ant lion.
Yes, ant lions. You have the various different, just a crudlu stampedes across your skull. Sorry.
God, those things are so nasty.
And a kank just casually is running out of food and it needs something, you know.
Do you attend any game conventions like Gen Con, Origins, GaryCon?
I'm very sorry. I don't. I've never done that. I've only ever been to one convention in my entire life. It was called Anime Matsuri. It was not a gaming convention. And that was it. I got horrible bad food poisoning there, and I was just like, nope. But
Con food did you in?
yes, it was.
The secret is to go out of the con for your food. You just gotta go to an actual restaurant.
Oh yeah, no. The people serving it were two gentlemen who were largely advertising the idea, an African take on Chinese food. And I'm like, well, I learned what Africa and China, when mixed together in their cuisine, give to me, and that is dysentery.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, certainly not something you'd want to repeat.
No, but it was just a fun experience too. I remember it was very stupid of me because all my friends went as different anime characters and I just went as the Shadow.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
the old
cool.
radio play character.
Yep.
Oh my God, I'm a huge Shadow fan. I love listening to it on radio takes.
Who
Love the Shadow.
knows? Yeah, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The
Oh,
Shadow knows. Yes.
oh, you've got it down good. I love it. That's one of my favorite parts about it.
Oh yeah, no, I just love the fact that he's a vigilante who operates like a crime boss and learned his moral lessons from a secret order dedicated to preserving monarchy despite also being an American. There's so much complexity to that character that just does not come out in a lot of other ones. And there's a reason that I would prefer a Shadow story to a Batman story.
Well, it wasn't Shadow the thing that inspired Batman, or didn't it take some from the Shadow?
Oh, absolutely, it took some from the Shadow, but Batman is also kind of its own character, and I do give it credit for that. But as far as comparing the quality of stories and the complexity of the characters, I would definitely give it over to the Shadow rather than Batman.
I think they even had a comic issue where the Batman and the Shadow met up, and like the I want to say Batman said that he inspired him as a young kid or something.
Oh no, I think I remember the Batman and the Shadow. I think how they retconned it is they made the Shadow one of his many 8 million different mentors that he apparently had time in his 5 years when he was gone to go get. Oh,
Oh,
the
he's Batman.
famous inventor who mentored me, and that's why I'm totally not a Mary Sue. Yes, let's do this.
He's the ultimate Mary Sue, except for powers. You know, when it comes to like knowledge and stuff, he is.
Indeed.
But he doesn't have hair. So thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here, Grimdark. We look forward to seeing more of your content, especially more Dark Sun focused stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no. Did I'm sorry if I left any dead air. I was super into this. I thought we would be going for like 3 hours, but if you yeah.
Well, you're welcome to stick around and just chat as long as you'd like. It's just the interview format itself has come to a conclusion.
Oh, no,
We'd love
absolutely.
to
I
have you just
thank you
talk.
for having me so much.
It's been great.
Oh yeah, and the recordings being on a time format really helps with the editing too.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. Thank you so much. And should we close it here?
What do you say,
Well,
Scully?
I guess I could pause the recording and start a new one if you would like to. So we'll have the interview separate from the rest of it if you'd like.
Sounds good. I absolutely okay with that.
All right. I'm operating this from my phone, so
Oh yeah, yeah.
all right. So it has stopped recording, and I will tell it to begin a new session.
I might take a bio break real quick too.
Okay, so we've got a new recording started, and we can just continue to shoot the shit, as they say.
Amen, amen.
So I've been I actually found this Dark Sun community by way of your server, Grimdark.
Oh, solid. So you used the pinned link I did when I was doing the when I was researching different Dark Sun stuff for the Discord server. Yeah.
I suppose so. Yeah, I found your YouTube videos to be very well researched and presented very well. And I went to check out your Discord server from that, and found a thriving community of like-minded people, and then worked my way over to here and joined these happy people, happy grimdark people over here.
Oh yeah,
It's
no,
been fun ever since.
Yeah, no, it seems like a great community. I'll go ahead and advertise this too on my end of the recording. The Sand Marches campaign. Do you want to tell the audience a bit more about the Sand Marches campaign?
Well, oh, you're still recording yours, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Ah, yes. Okay, so the Sand Marches is a West Marches style game that was developed by one of the Bone Stone and Obsidian bloggers, podcasters, Jesse Heinig, um, along with I believe it's Radu. I believe is the other guy that does that one. And but Jesse did the Sand Marches campaign. It's a product of I believe 3 years of work for him to develop this section of the tablelands that's mostly wasteland that's wide open, and we're playing a group of outcasts and ne'er-do-wells that are struggling for survival and working our own way through the region and discovering what's there to be found. And we've gone from level 3, now we're working our ways, we're getting very close to level 7 now. We have a community of about 36 players. About a dozen of them are very active, and we have 5, maybe more closer to 20 players being very active. And we have 5 dungeon masters that are now collaborating with one another to play probably 2 games a week in the second edition rule set. And yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Very nice to hear. And if people wanted to join on the Sand Marches campaign, which is a campaign, if I recall correctly, designed to be a long-form format for anyone to create a character and join at any time and then play as little or as much as they can, where would they go? What Discord would they go to?
Yes, that's the spirit of the West Marches / Sand Marches style, is that you play when you're available, when a game happens, and if you can't, then that's okay. You sort of plug and play your character in each party. You would find the game on our Dark Sun server here. We have Radu has set us up with a entire corner of the server is set up for our relentless amount of chat that keeps going on amongst us. That I'm sure he gets updates for all kinds of craziness from it. We just role play on it. We coordinate games on it. We discuss rules discrepancies.
Mm-hmm.
And you would join us here and introduce yourself and ask a dungeon master if you know to make a character, and we bring you right into the VTT and hook you up, and you're ready to go.
And I will do my best to leave a link to the Dark Sun Discord below this video in the description box.
Awesome. We appreciate that.
Amen, amen. And I got to ask, like we talked about the dragon. What was your favorite Dragon King?
Mine is actually Tektuktitle, the mighty and omnipotent Tektuktitle, father of life and master of the 2 moons.
Mm-hmm.
He's the Dragon King of Draj. He was brutally murdered in the novels by Rajat. He had his skull bashed in with a giant artifact piece of obsidian called the Obsidian Lens. But in my own mind's eye, I have a hard time believing that a Sorcerer King could simply be bludgeoned to death. So I'm sure he had some sort of contingencies in place to bring himself back, or to get away from that and reclaim his seat of power after the events of the novels, in my mind, in my head canon. But yeah, he's got those delusions of grandeur. He very much believes in his own godhood. And he always strikes me as kind of like that Eric Cartman when he was a hall monitor, respect my authority kind of character. He's thirsty for respect, and none of his contemporaries will give him an inch.
Understandable. I like that. So you like him for his inferiority complex.
I do. I find it very, and he's still incredibly. He's one of these dragons. He's one of these sorcerer kings. So he is literally one of the most powerful beings in existence, but he still has this inferiority complex.
It adds depth of character.
Oh yeah, now that Thor's back, what's your answer?
I just got back. I'm not sure which.
What's your favorite Dragon King? You got to ask me now. I am asking you. I will make you answer I will answer. You will answer it, or I will torture you with blood magic that may or may not be canon.
I wish it was. I hope it is. But no, my favorite is Dragoth. It's hands down Dragoth. Dragoth is what got me into the setting. The art of the City by the Silt Sea box set. My friend being my first GM who introduced me to Dark Sun, being a fanatic of Dragoth. I was always in love with the lore because I read the books over at his house. So it's hands down Dragoth, the undead Dragon King. For better or for worse, for the parts of the lore I love, for the parts I do not like, he's my favorite.
Very solid, very solid. The Lord of Smug. The Lord of Smug.
Oh, Drigoth is definitely smug.
Well, and it's his personality change. Unlike a lot of the other SKs, we have a full in-depth history from, or not a full in-depth history, but as much as it gets for Green Age Dragon Kings, we have his history of how he was behaving in the Green Age. And you see, in his write-up, you see a different Dragoth in the Green Age before the SKs ambush him. You see one who's concerned with reading and writing and his you know, I can't pronounce it, but his utopia city, you know, everything's running right. These are things he's thinking about, and then he's attacked, he's murdered, he goes through all this stuff, and now he's like this, you know, insanely out for revenge. You know, he's just this whole different personality, and seeing that change in him is very interesting to me to kind of show you that the SKs you know now, the Sorcerer Kings you know now, are not necessarily what they started off to be.
Right, they're not static.
It adds depth of character. I think that's we don't have that in a lot of the Sorcerer Kings histories. You know,
I feel you. I feel you. And if each of you had to play for a long term time and it was the only character you could play, what class, what social element, what would their background be? What would you view your long term character as being? In Dark Sun.
now I feel
I
like I'm getting the interview.
Yes, you are.
yeah, well, kind of how the turns have tabled.
I'm sorry.
How the tablelands have turned.
I
For
think
me,
you.
I've always loved the Templar. I love the idea of playing a bureaucrat who's in a position to undermine the levers of this corrupt system and to be an effective force for change from within.
I like that. I like that. And what about you, Jarl Thor?
You know, I never really had one until I started the Sand Marches campaign by Jesse Helsing. And I think it's a dwarven earth cleric fighter. I really think Thorian is my go-to as a long-term character. Dwarves have always been a favorite of mine in D&D, but they were never my long-term characters because they just kind of lacked something. I always liked the Earth cleric from Dark Sun, and I like how you know dwarves are just this natural fit. They're completely bald or mostly bald. They're just this pillar of a mountain that even kind of resembles a mountain in some of the old artwork. You know, so I dig them.
Amen, amen. Very cool. I would say that my favorite race, and I said this before, but I really love the Gen 2 Dre. I love the Gen 2 Dre. I think that there's, every time my community talks about Dark Sun, I sort of bring up the idea of a somewhat comedic Gen 2 Dre character that's going through a rebellious phase. He rebels against his parents, but his rebellion against his parents is like, I'm going to be an abolitionist. Fuck you. I'm, I'm going to not do slave trade. Take that, mom and dad.
Well, and one of my favorite things for the oh later yes. Well, one of my favorite things for the Dre and the dragon art of the dragons of how dragons are depicted, you know, like Skeletor was talking earlier, is that they're depicted not exactly as being fully scaled, but that they have this kind of molted skin, you know, and they have some scales, but it's just kind of uneven in the first generation, but more slick and refined in the second generation Dre. The artwork from second edition on Dre is just, to me, it's like a chef's kiss. You know, it's like,
Oh,
Now
without a
that
doubt.
artwork is mostly Baxa, right?
yeah, yeah. I think Braxa, and he's definitely taking some, you know, notes from Brahm, of course. It looks like.
Now, one thing I love about the artwork for the first generation Dre, I really love the implication of with the patchy skin. In my mind, it was always very specifically that Dre at this stage, not Dre, sorry, Dregoth at this stage could not decide whether he wanted his supposed master race to be mammals, amphibians, or reptiles. He couldn't figure out which form would be best for them to take, so he just tried to include all three. And he's like, no, 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 I messed up. Yeah, just go away. It's like, Father, I love you. Yeah. I have to go get some cigarettes. You play. You just hang out with your mother, and it's like it's just a tube. So.
Yeah, that's an invite to June. No, I definitely agree. It's very cool seeing kind of have the relationship between the first or the second gen with Drake, you know, and kind of how they've turned. Hey, welcome in, June.
How you doing, June? Oh, can June not talk?
This mic might be his problem.
Sometimes has some mic issues. It'll get sorted out, I'm sure.
And June runs AthosCon, if I'm not mistaken.
Why, yes, I believe that's correct.
And when June gets on mic, he would be more than free to tell my audience, who are still hearing this, about what they could expect from AthosCon if they wanted to get more involved in the Dark Sun community.
Yeah, and I think that's all really important for the community. I love having the idea of having a convention, you know, just dedicated to Dark Sun. It's definitely something that's I think's been popular in the past in the material, you know, the real world conventions, but you know, this new age moving to digital, you know, is kind of a big thing in the community. I know the Grognards and Greyhawk community do it as well. They have a online digital convention they run.
Oh yeah,
I saw
no.
your mic light up there, June.
Yes, I can finally speak.
Hello, June. Would you like to tell the lovely people and 29,000 plus people, which will hopefully be 30,000 people by the end of the year, please, people in my audience about the AthosCon? They would love to know about it, and a lot of these people have been talking about wanting to get into Dark Sun. That's one of the most common comments on my Dark Sun videos, is people wanting to play Dark Sun but not having a community, and I do believe that you have the solution to these problems, do you not?
Well, I have a solution. I don't have the solution. So a little bit about AthosCon. We started it 2 years ago on the 31st anniversary of Dark Sun. So typically it takes place in October. The first time we did it, was a fantastic turnout. We had more than 60 people, 12 games through various game systems. It goes along with something you said earlier during the interview, that Dark Sun is about themes, and you know, in many ways, it transcends a game system, and I think that's a good way to see it. And many other fans of Dark Sun enjoy the themes of the world, the setting itself, but not necessarily play it in whatever edition that Dungeons and Dragons plays currently or in the past. So I think that's a good thing, that we distinguish the difference between the setting itself and its themes and the game systems in which we enact the gameplay. For Athos Con, what we've done is we've allowed GMs to decide what game system they want to play in Dark Sun, and still give the players the themes and feels of Dark Sun. We are actually starting a Living Dark Sun campaign that it's going to debut at GaryCon next month, actually. And that's going to be, in many ways, in the vein of the old organized play campaigns like LFR or Pathfinder Society. And we're taking elements of all the organized play campaigns and setting one up for a Living Dark Sun. And in many ways, if the Sand Marches campaign that was mentioned, which is played in 2e, Living Dark Sun is going to be played in a 5e-esque capacity. In other words, it's going to have the 5e chassis, but like the original Dark Sun in for 2E, it's going to have many pages of revisions and homebrewing that's going to make it more interesting, a bit more gritty and grim, so to speak.
Very good to hear. And if people wanted to get in on the AthosCon, what server would they join?
They would be able to join the AthosCon server. It's pretty much found in many places. If you just type AthosCon, even on Google, it'll be one of the first things that pop up. We also host games on various live conventions. We're always at Origins and Gen Con, um, and other conventions. It's just this year we're doing GaryCon, Origins, Gen Con, and then for December we'll be doing PAX Unplugged.
Amen,
You have
amen.
one per quarter.
Yes, normally those are the ones that I normally attend. But once we get this ball going and we have more GMs that are willing to run games, then they can be run at multiple cons or virtually online. That'd be great too.
And you might get an influx of those because I have a few dungeon masters who watch my channel as well.
Fantastic! It's much appreciated.
Yes, Grimdark has a whole channel set aside to Dark Sun and Dungeons and Dragons that got a fairly active little community in it in itself.
Yep, my channel demographics are very strong. It's half schizophrenics and the other half are like hardcore gamers, and there's a little bit of overlap in there, and it's very fun.
That's fantastic. I'll take a look at it.
I've been in the server for a little bit now, and it's been a great community to be a part of.
Yeah, but the various Dark Sun communities.
No, I believe he was talking about your server, Grimdark.
Oh, well, I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, no, thank you very much. Yeah, we focus on Grimdark Media. We're always trying our best to just have things be active, and I'm very grateful that my community is active. And there's always a wide variety that often I think fills niches for people because it really is a general Grimdark server. If you can name a Grimdark property, we likely have a channel for it, and that channel is likely active. Ah.
Very cool, very cool.
Is there any game system that you think represents the genre of grimdark best?
Oh. You know what? I'm going to give maybe not a controversial answer, but certainly an answer that isn't executed well in practicality, but in theory is the best possible system. And I'm just going to straight up say the V20 World of Darkness Vampire the Masquerade rule set.
Oh, that just happens to be one of my favorite game systems.
Oh, I love it. Don't you? I love everything about the idea of. Actually, that's one of the things we were talking about. One of the reasons I wanted to. Okay, so have you? Okay, so June, have you seen the show Grimm?
No, I have not.
Damn. All right. So Grimm is basically this detective supernatural show that was on air for about 6 seasons. It was created with some of the showrunners from Angel, but it has such a well-built original world, such a tightly well-built original world, and the masquerade mechanics, the humanity mechanics, all the White Wolf rules work for playing Vesson, which is what monster people are called in that world. And there are so many variations in an infinite number of various different groups. There are goblin human traffickers, there are troll mafiosos, there are werewolves who are part of like a thing that might be possibly the KKK. There's like bad guys and monsters and the good guys who are humans and grim and it's all monsters, and I love it. But anyway, the thing is, it's just a far more believable version of the World of Darkness setting, and it's just there. It's just there for you because the whole system of the factions are much more believable. And I want to put that out to people. That's why I'm going to be doing the All Vesson in Grimm, is just because I know like only 2 people are going to watch it. I know it's not going to be a big video, but I'm going to make it big. I'm going to put the effort into it because people will be able to use that. It is, in my opinion, the best possible reskin of Vampire the Masquerade that exists, and the best possible universe to reskin Vampire the Masquerade in.
So it's basically like VTM, Werewolf the Apocalypse, and Changeling the Dream, all combined into
And
one.
Hunter, yeah.
Oh, and Hunter. That's my favorite. I think I always want to start the players as hunters and then have a secondary party right? On a different day of the week, play the vampires.
Oh
Oh
yeah, no,
God.
that
Yeah,
works.
that would be so sweet.
Yeah, there are a bunch of not vampires in Grimm. Oh, and would you like to hear what Grimms are in Grimm?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Grimms are literally people who can see behind what is the natural veil or masquerade that these Vessen, these monster people, can use to hide themselves. And they can see past it. They can see what these people really are. In short, your hunters are the main characters. And just being a Grimm is nothing special. That's the beautiful part. You can literally just be a Grimm, and your life is just kind of turned upside down by the fact that you know certain things that other people don't know about the world and its supernatural nature, but you can't explain them yourself. And you can be a Grimm who comes from a background educated on Grimms. You can be a Grimm who, like the main character Nicholas Burkhart from the show, is a cop. You could be a Grimm who's part of an organized crime family. You can be a crazy Grimm who just wants to murder everything. You can be everything. So it's a very diverse concept, but it literally just means that in the eyes of people who are Vessen, people who have the inner beast in them, regardless of what that inner beast is. And again, there are many different types of them. Your eyes turn a pitch black, and then you can see what's in them. And I don't know, it's probably because I'm a Houstonian, and like the entirety of the audience of Grimm was basically just the entire city of Houston that for some reason just deliberately and obsessively watched that show. I don't know why, but apparently that's a thing demographically. We just did that. And so that's I don't know. It's just fun. It's just fun. I really love
So
it.
they pretty much have their glasses on from that old movie. What they're
Yes.
alive or something.
Yeah, no, they
It's-
actually, and if you want to play one of the people from They Live, there's a thing called a Hexenbeast and a Zauberbeast. They are the warlocks and witches class. It basically makes you one of the Sith. There are so many Sith references in the Hexenbeasts and Zauberbeasts. You basically become a zombie person that looks a lot like, actually, the aliens from They Live. And you actually have like cool telekinesis powers if you're a Zauberbeast, and cool magical witchcraft powers if you're a Hexenbeast. Hexenbeasts are the female witch variety, and the warlocks are Zauberbeasts. And it's like, oh, it's so cool. It's so cool. Oh, and also, if you ever liked playing a Thin Blood, you can be a half Vessen. Half Vessen do exist. The main character's boss, Captain Renard, turns out to be a bastard of a royal family, which is like a mafioso group that kind of control a human royal family. But he's a bastard son of them, and his mother was a Hexenbeast, so he was born a half Zauberbeast. So when he transforms, when he manifests, half of his face turns into like this creepy, heart-beating zombie thing, and the other half stays human. And it's very fun. He has such a small amount of power, but he's already a very tall, physically built person, and he uses his powers to increase psychically, telekinetically his punching strength, and it's really cool to see.
I got a real quick question for you on Vampire the Masquerade. What edition or what did you, was it Vampire Masquerade itself and not Dark Age or one of the later editions that you played the most?
I played V20. I played V20.
And that's
Usually our games would be set in the same time as Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the video game. So it would be set in like the early 2000s, right after 9/11.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, that's we played in the '90s all the way until about 2004 or five is how long I played Vampire. I mean, 10 straight years since it had come out, and then I took up D&D again when third edition came out through Pathfinder. And then I did that for 10 years. I volunteered as a one of the regional venture coordinators for the Northeast, basically for Paizo, and then they moved on to their second edition, and I went to fifth edition to play again some Dark Sun. But I always collected all my vampire stuff. I mean, I don't play a Vampire 5, even though I bought into the system. My go-to is still V20. I think they cleaned it up enough that it's very good, very dynamic. It's full of flexibility, and it's just fun.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. 100%. What's
The
your...
Grim show you're talking about reminds me of a movie. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. It's called Nightbreed.
Oh,
I wanna say
Nightbreed.
it's
Okay.
from the '80s.
Yes, yes. Actually, I have a fun story about Nightbreed. Before you continue, I want you to continue, but I have a fun story about... Actually, you know what? No, I'll do it after. You do Nightbreed first. No, advertise Nightbreed.
No. I was just gonna say that it reminded me of Nightbreed as you described it. I was like, sounds like Nightbreed a little bit.
Oh yeah, no. So my fun sort of addition to Nightbreed. Nightbreed was actually inspired by Lovecraft letters, unpublished Lovecraft letters that were held in the Miskatonic Library. The person who made Nightbreed was heavily inspired by those letters because what that was actually Lovecraft's planned extension on ghoul lore. And I have a whole video on ghouls and Conan, which are Lovecraft's ghouls. And I love doing research into that because I found like I had already seen Nightbreed, but then I found out these sort of origins of it being inspired largely by Lovecraft writings, and I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. Like the Nightbreeds are literally reimaginings of the ghouls. Obviously, they don't have the right depiction because Lovecraft's ghouls have the canine-like features and are basically somewhat depicted as were-hyenas, but were-hyenas are a little bit of were-dogs kind of look to them. But the Nightbreed are their own unique monster forms of ghouls, effectively, and it's very cool.
Nightbreed was actually, that's Clive Barker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same guy who did Hellraiser.
Yep.
His much more well-known property.
And Hellraiser, of course, has some Lovecraft influence.
Obviously. Very, yeah, it wears it on its sleeve sometimes.
Yeah, he actually did a couple good ones.
Oh, that's so cool. So do all of you have experience in World of Darkness?
I have a very limited experience in World of Darkness, which wasn't very great. So I have a not great opinion of it, but I'm open to other people's experiences.
Because I just wanted to ask what your favorite clans of vampires were.
Oh, I was oh god, what was it? Bruja.
Okay.
I liked the Bruja, the anarchist, sort of like, buck the trends, sort of kind of characters. That was my thing back then, anyway.
Yeah. And what about the rest of you?
Oh, I am Tremere all the way.
Blood sorcery, yes, indeed,
Yeah,
indeed.
in fact, Jesse, who does Sand Marches, actually wrote Clan Book Tremere.
Very solid.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he did a lot of work on World of Darkness as well.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, I was gonna send you a picture of my 2 tattoos, then you'd know.
Well,
so my 2 tattoos, I only have 2 tattoos, and both of them, one of them is the Sabbat symbol, and then the other one is the Jihad symbol from the old card game from VTM.
Very good, and a man of culture. I see. Sabbat is also my favorite faction to play.
Just love springing it on players, and in fact, in my private Discord channel, we're supposed to be starting a VTM campaign. But just you have old friends who you've played with 20 years and stuff. But because we all have kids and stuff, getting together is it's an adventure by itself. So I'm just leery about starting a game where I don't have consistency in players. So I had to tell them like, hey guys, we're not gonna do this. We meet like every 6 months. It's never gonna happen.
Nah, I feel you. It's just good to know because I love the horror answers. I love the horror answers. So we have blood magic and we have the demonic athlete basically. With
pretty much.
Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. For me, I'm a very classic person. I just really love I love playing them as an independent clan who are almost their own faction in their own right, and that is the Nosferatu. I love the Nosferatu. I love everything about the Nosferatu. I love the idea of creeping around, living in the sewers, only coming out when you can obfuscate. Beautiful stuff.
Oh yeah, one of my favorites. I don't know if you read the novels, but the Blood War trilogy was also great. And then they did a 13-book series, which was really good too.
Ooh.
This is dated information, but it's like from 2005, I think. It's right before the line ended, right before Justin Achilli killed it, and decided to write Vampire the Requiem.
Oh, Vampire the... Oh, right, V5. Yeah. Yeah. Vampire the Requiem.
Yeah, because Onyx Path wrote V20, if you remember.
Yeah, yeah, no, I understand. I was just kind of sad because Vampire the Requiem.
Yeah, that really sucked.
Okay, so now I will end my recording right here because I feel like I did get enough of your soul for our audience so they can understand who you are and what they're coming to meet. And I think they're going to like you, and I think they're going to like talking to you.
Awesome.
Amen.